Okay, so I was playing around with this idea yesterday as I go through the Quran and all these books. Really, I go through the Bible, the Quran, like the Old Testament, New Testament, Quran. This idea that all these humans have, this idea of God. So what I'm gonna try to do in these 10 minutes, 10 minutes, if I only have 10 minutes, I'm gonna try to explain the idea of what God is formulating to be in my head as I'm reading these texts and figuring it out. Okay, it's going to be hard to explain, but I'm going to try my best, and I might fail at explaining it. I hope the camera's clean. Okay, hi. Sorry. Okay, that's better. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, I'm going to try to explain this idea. People say, like, have faith in God, believe in God, don't believe in God, whatever. I don't really believe any of this stuff. I think that God is a necessary. I don't think it has anything to do with belief. I think people believe in God whether or not they think they believe in God. I don't think that there's such thing as an atheist. I think that there's such thing as polytheists. I'll tell you what I mean. You are creation. Everything you are exists because you're here to witness that existence of that thing. So you have a series of ideals. So what is God? God would be a series of ideals in which to live up to. It's like, okay, are you limiting God by saying that? Well, like maybe, but it could be multiple things. It doesn't have to just be one thing. So it's a series of ideas in which you have to live up to. Now, what are those series of ideas? Like the most compassionate, the most merciful, the most powerful, the ever-seeing, all this stuff. But essentially, what does this God expect from you? He expects you to raise yourself up. Right? So you're going towards something. You're going upwards. You're trying to be more compassionate. You're trying to be more aware. You're trying to be more compassionate. You're trying to be more strong. Okay, what is going on? You're trying to aim towards God. Because at the end of the thing that you're aiming towards is what is the highest version of yourself, which is the limited capability of yourself as a human being, because you're in this body. So the human being is facing two things. We're an animal, but we have consciousness. So but before I get there, it's like, okay, so God is a series of ideals in which you want to live by. But you can't live by those series of ideals because you're not God. So instead, what God does is he gives you a person, whether that be Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, whether it be Noah, like all these stories, it's like the same thing, which is live up to these series of ideals. Live up to these series of ideals. No matter what the society does, live up to these series of ideals. Because the way that human beings operate is we operate inside groupthink. This is why we go, it's our group and your group is evil. It's our group and your group is evil. But at the end of the day, I mean, we all come from God and we all have these ideals to move towards. So if there's a series of ideals that you have to chase, and that idea in my head could be God. God is not a human. I don't believe that God's a man in the sky. The question becomes, to me, are those series of ideals conscious? Are those series of ideals aware? So God says, like in the Quran, I'm the most aware. So the thing is, like, you don't have to prove it. You don't have to say the Quran says or the Bible says or whatever that this exists because the Bible says. It gets into circular arguments. Does consciousness exist? Yes, you have it. You are aware. Therefore, awareness exists. Okay. It comes from where? It comes from the source, which is God, just another name for it. So if God says, I am the most aware, they basically say, I am awareness itself. And he breathes awareness into you. So the only way that you exist as a thing, you did not create yourself. You were created. So all the senses and all the things that exist come from the source. The source is God himself. And now the human being is aiming towards the best ideals that were given to him by God. And the way that you can kind of see this is inside of your own fitra, inside of your own consciousness. Like, you have an idea, you do. You come packaged with an idea of good and bad. You come with that idea. It's built into you. You kind of know what the right thing is to do. It's not conditioned. I would say that the right thing is conditioned out of you. I think that and this is kind of maybe the second part that I was going to say. It's like, you're living in two creatures. You can kind of see it as time goes on, right? When you're a kid, you're totally pure. Totally pure. You look at a kid's face, totally pure. And then you get into like teenage years and the bestial takes over, because like your brain isn't developed yet, but your whole body is like, so you're fighting or you're hooking up or you're doing like you're just bodily. And the pursuit of the bodily seems to destroy us. And what I mean by that is, like, if you look at all the pursuits of the bodily, they're just quick dopamine. So like drugs will like get you on a quick dopamine hit, and so will like watching like the naked ladies on the internet. It's like quick dopamine hit, or also like hooking up with a chick, or also drinking alcohol, or also playing on your phone. Even like this right now is a quick dopamine hit. So now the way that they get you right now is just enough of a dopamine hit to keep you on, and that's why you end up just scrolling forever, because it's targeting your dopamine. So what's happening is that you're chasing dopamine. And as you're chasing dopamine, it takes you away from something. It takes you away from reaching your highest level, the highest pursuit of what you can be. So now you have this idea of God in your head, right? It's like the most merciful, the most compassionate, all the stuff. But those ideals live in your head, because in your mind, you have an ideal of what is the most merciful. It's in your head. Now, I may have a different ideal of what's the most merciful than John over here. I may have a different ideal. So then you have these books, the Quran, Torah, Bible, all these books. And what they're doing is they're outlining a series of uniform ideals in which the human being sees as a beneficial thing. Now, whether or not you believe that these books come from God or not, it's fascinating that the human being agrees that some ideals are just better than others. And there is a right path and there's a wrong path. And you could see it through the system's ability to maintain itself. Like these new ideals that they have. My car just made noises. These new ideals that they have, they don't stand the test of time. And the reason why they don't stand the test of time is because they're created, I would say that they're created by humans, and humans don't really know what they're doing. Whereas these books have a divine aspect to it. See, if a system is created by the human, it's going to have inevitable problems, because, and I'm sorry, I keep coming to this, but we are two things at the same time. We are the body, but then we're also consciousness and awareness, right? It's like the Quran says, tell the believing men to lower their gaze. Why does it tell you to lower your gaze? If you knew to lower your gaze, then it wouldn't have to tell you. Which you think contradicts to the idea of fitra, or like having an idea of consciousness inside you. No, that's not true. Because how do you know? Because you should lower your gaze, and you know that you should lower your gaze. And the way you know that is because if you had a lady, or you had your mom around you, you're not going to want people to look at her like that. So the just thing to do is to treat people how you want to be treated. And you know that because you know how you want to be treated, which means that you know what's good or not good. So the point is to aim up towards a value of systems that is consciousness itself. The problem is you chase other systems, and those systems become God. Now, one last thing, when I talk about the act of praying, yes, there's praying, talk to God. Okay, you know what? I'm not going to go there yet. When you talk, I have 40 more seconds, and I realize I can't like post multiple videos at the same time, or they don't post. Okay, 35 more seconds. The ideal in which you have that points towards God, if you practice praying towards that ideal. You're practicing praying towards greatness, which means you're imagining greatness, which means that literal prayer makes you better because you're able to envision yourself in the highest form of yourself. And the more you practice it, the higher you're going to be. And these books, Quran, whatever, like the Bible, all these books are value series that point you upwards. Let's go. All right.